Let's see if we can get that third team offense up and running for you folks there. And there it is. And I see a player that I think we're going to see today. It's kind of funny.
If what Pat was saying is right, it sounds like it's likely we will see him. We can't say for sure, right?
Well, it is for third team offense on D3Football.com's All-American team. The offense includes quarterback Kurt Rocco, senior from Mount Union. Running backs are Brent Donnelly, junior from Ohio Northern, and it feels like an OAC convention going on here. And Andrew Case, running back, senior from Johns Hopkins. Wide receivers are Nate Romick, senior from Albright, and Craig Bissong, senior from Washington and Jefferson. Tight end, Zach Friedrich, senior from Greenville. Your tackles are Josh Delancey, senior, North Central Illinois, and Travis Booth, senior from Illinois Wesleyan. Guards, hey, Colin Berry, senior from Union College.
That's your alma mater.
Yes, it is. Colin, congratulations. And Travis McBride, senior from Redlands. Center, Dustin Davis, junior from Mary Hardin Baylor. And stop for 1 second there. Now we're in the third team. What jumps out at you there, Mr. Ryan Tips?
I guess there are two names. I'm very familiar with Andrew Case, really kind of being one of the great players in recent years at Johns Hopkins, and really being the kind of foundation of the offense that propelled them into the Elite Eight of the playoffs.
You can't really do that. The NCAA gets a little upset about that.
I'm sorry. I did not realize that. My apologies. I'll take that back.
The final 8 teams that played the playoffs.
Into the regional finals. How about if I go that route?
Very good.
My apologies for that. But the other name that really kind of pops out is Nate Romick too, because at Albright, he had Tanner Kelly throwing the ball to him, and we have a couple of these just really spectacular quarterback to wide receiver combinations that really kind of help both players shine, and that's definitely been a case in with Nate Romick, and I know that there's one other player who's on either the first or second team that we'll see, who I could also kind of point to that.
Let me speak selfishly for a moment about Colin Berry.
Definitely.
Great player on the line for Union College, well deserved. He helped keep a sophomore quarterback from tasting the ground quite a bit throughout the season and breaking some big holes for Chris Coney, who, a tailback who a lot of people have heard of outside of Union, but they don't necessarily hear Colin Berry's name. So it's good to see that he gets recognition for what he's able to do week to week. Let's go to the defense. And on that defense, hey, it's another Mount Union guy starting right at the top here. Defensive ends, James Herbert, senior from Mount Union, and Chris Mays, sophomore from Wesley. They basically faced each other last week, not head-to-head literally, but on the same field. Tackles, defensively, are Chris Merkel, senior from Montclair State, and Kyle Schroeder, senior from St. John's. Your linebackers are Ralph Pineda, junior from Willamette, Cortez Ashmore, senior from Mississippi College. I actually got to call him when he played a little bit there with Keith McMillan in the Wesley game, and he was a good player in an otherwise ugly day for that team. And Judd Lutz, senior from Mount Union. Cornerbacks are Troney Shumpert, senior from Whitewater, and Zach Audenrabe, the freshman from Thomas More. Safeties, Drew McClain, the hero of last year's game, senior from Mount Union, and Don Blatt, senior from Cornell. Your specialists, kicker, Garrett Beal, a freshman from Trinity, Texas. Your punter, Kyle Trella, freshman from Trinity, Texas. And your returner, not from Trinity, Texas. It's Jared Burrell, senior from Springfield College.
Well, the first thing that obviously jumps out at you, and you emphasized it, was 2 freshmen from Trinity, Texas, who made this list. But in this group, he's not the only freshman. You still have the Thomas More freshman at cornerback who also made the list. And you always kind of think about what kind of future that these kids are going to have if they're doing so well so early in their Division III career. Another thing to look at with that particular list is we really are starting to mention a lot of the Mount Union guys. We're mentioning the defensive ends, the Mount really starting to touch on the Mount Union line that has been so potent all through the year, and I'm sure we will be seeing more from the Purple Raiders as we go through the All-Americans.
I think we have some family members waiting for a certain player's name right out here. We got the camera kind of trained on them right now to see what the reaction is if and when they hear that name. But let's go to the second team in a moment here. Again, you're listening to the D3Football.com All-American team for 2009. And here we go. Second team. Sorry to keep you waiting. Quarterback from Monmouth, Alex Tanney. He's a junior. Alex Tanney, a great player. You heard, I think, some of the clips there, or one of the clips towards the end of him.
I mean, yeah, Alex definitely a big part of the reason that Monmouth has gone 20-0 in the regular season over the past 2 years. Definitely.
And that kind of gets lost with all these other teams, named Mount Union, Wisconsin, and Wesley, etc. Running backs, Jim Bauer, senior from Maine Maritime. Great run they had this season. And Caleb Jennings Jr., Emory and Henry. Wide receivers, Jeff Koneman, senior from Carthage. And Michael Zweifel, junior from Dubuque. Tight end, Kyle Miller, senior from Mount Union. Your tackles, Sean Tatro, senior from Lebanon Valley. And Evan Isaacs, senior from Wabash. Guards, Andrew Benchick, senior from Ohio Northern. Guard also Josh Langford, senior from Mississippi College. Center, Josh Ostrew, junior from St. Thomas. Tell me about Evan Isaacs.
Well, one of the things that Wabash has done once they started getting, once Coach Rayburn, Eric Rayburn had joined the group, was one of the things they've been really pushing is to try to establish the run game. And that's going to start up front with players like Evan Isaacs. Looking elsewhere on the list, though, is we've already touched on Alex Tanney. One thing that I didn't mention earlier is that he currently leads the nation in passing yardage, and that record or that status could fall today depending on how good of a day Kurt Rocco has, because he is, I know, nipping at Alex Tanney's heels. But the other player that jumps out at me, who I'm very familiar with, having seen him over the past couple of years, is Caleb Jennings from Emory and Henry. He's, the best word that I could use to describe him is scrappy. He's 5'7", and really just has those moves. Is a very physical player, and is really not afraid to get bumps and bruises over his body.
Let's go to that second team defense and specialists, and here we go. Defensive ends, Joe Millings, senior from Mount Union, and Alex Wertheimer, junior from Occidental. Defensive tackles are Matt Greaves, senior from Heidelberg, and Mike Ward, senior from Wesley. Linebackers, Nick Nikolich, senior from Illinois Wesleyan. Kyle Supanowski, junior from Whitewater. And Brad Steinmetz, senior from Thomas More. Those are your linebackers. Your cornerbacks on the second team are Dominique Dixon, senior from Montclair State, and Brett Parker, senior from Mary Hardin Baylor. Safeties are Fred Argier, senior from Amherst, and Aaron Benson, junior from Wesley. Your specialists, Dan Winsey, junior from Concordia, Wisconsin. Your punter, Tyler Funk, senior from Carthage. And your returner, Jeremy Dixon, junior from Averett. And one thing that jumps out to me right there, Ryan Tips, is Fred Argier from Amherst, not a team that participates in the playoffs, so the exposure is limited, and a team from the NESCAC, or a player from the NESCAC, gets into the second team.
Yeah, it's always kind of hard to compare teams from that conference against the wider swath of Division III, because they don't play non-conference games. They're not participating in the playoffs, and you really gotta look harder at the numbers when you consider a top 25 poll or some of these all American or all region awards.